I have held a grudge on the Destiny franchise for around 6 years, and to anyone who still does to this day, I am in no way going to argue with you. The immeasurable disappointment we all remember from the Year 1 vanilla in 2014, the extremely aggressive anti-consumer movement, the dysfunction and eventual fall of a development team that I held in such high regard, and then Destiny 2 comes around, and would you know it, the cycle didn't so much repeat itself, it was actually worse. And if there was anyone to blame for it, it was me. Because I, get this, I thought it was going to be good. And that was it. After 1 month, I dropped it and moved on, accompanied by my disappointment. Years pass, and I'm hearing some good things about the game, and I've had this dilemma to go back for a while to make a video on it. It's one of those games that really nobody talks about, but you're constantly reminded of it. Whether it pops up in your recommended, or there's always that one person on your friends list that's playing it, I don't know. But against absolutely no odds, I snapped and reinstalled the game. I have Game Pass Ultimate, which happened to have the Destiny 2 expansion, so there it was, I took it and went off. One thing to note for new players is that Destiny 2 is quite chill, I'll admit. Shit will be burning left, right and centre, but it doesn't make me break character. There are some really challenging parts in this game by all accounts, and some very intense PvP games. But unless by choice I don't have to find myself going full John Wick 10% off your first purchase, auditioning for phase mode while playing Destiny 2. I understand one of the biggest criticisms around Destiny as a whole was just the lack of variety around gameplay sections. Most encounters with enemies interacted the exact same way, and then when you weren't killing without the thought of civil negotiations, you likely were traversing some bland puzzle sections like jumping from platform to platform. However, dodging trains that forget to stop, that's pretty fun. Oh my god. No, just wait, come on. Wasting time here. Okay. Shit. Bitch! Look, I get what they're saying, but the way I've always approached reviewing games is first and foremost understand where developers are coming from. What are their intentions for this game? If you're going to go out and call a game that's made by From Software for being too hard, run! It's pretty clear that just by playing Destiny 2, Bungie doesn't want the level design to be super complex. Aside from the exotic missions, I guess, the game doesn't force the player to constantly readapt their playstyle to overcome obstacles. The main content of Destiny 2 is a lot like James May. It participates in many exciting shenanigans and contributions, but presents themselves in a very bland, stale, British way. And there's nothing wrong with that. Hello. But onto the gameplay itself. Destiny 2 offers a very traditional and strong first-person shooter sandbox, and it's free to play. Although having said that, despite the simplicity in the gameplay department, there is a lot to take in regarding its social space, what everyone is used for, how certain mechanics work, where to find certain consumables, etc, etc. I wouldn't make fun of you by any means if after completing the opening tutorial missions you would feel a little bit lost, and I'm glad I had these story expansions that were just sitting there waiting to be played like, click me, play game, life good. And also I had some much appreciated guidance from some experienced acquaintance. Hold on. Better change that. Friends. Now, when it comes to the loot, even when the game was in its worst state, I never thought the loot system was terrible. It was just a grueling grind to get to it. It's much better now though, but for new players there is some annoyances that come with it. You are constantly being bombarded with new rewards that quickly fill up all of your available slots, so you have to keep up with dismantling all the gear that you think has ran its course. Going over to the Monument to the Lost Lights where you can view all of the exotic weaponry and get yourself a nice pair of blue balls. It's almost like you can purchase them, except I gotta get a fucking Ascendance Shard. Like, look at that, there's the Devil's Ruin. Or maybe we want Tommy's matchbook. Or how about the last word?
Then you give them the last word, but they're not happy with the last word. They want to say it again.
But you can be rewarded every now and then with one of these bad boys, or you can find the exotic merchant, Zer, and happy days, off you go. But don't get too carried away.
Yeah, take that, you bloody bastards! It's too easy. You're starting to think that I'll be the last Guardian you ever fuck!
The 3 main story expansions, which is what you have to pay for, or if you can get it on Game Pass, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, and Beyond Light. Each offer roughly between 8 to 12 hours each, but don't go playing them straight through without mixing it up with some strikes or other quest lines. At least that's what I do. So far, I've only completed Beyond Light, which I thought was alright, and I'm currently working through Forsaken, which I think I'm actually liking more, to be honest. And yes, before anyone who plays Destiny regular, I did not research the timeline of these events before choosing the order of what to play them. Do I regret it? It's not the biggest regret in my life, but yes, I do. I do regret it. But maybe you're a bit tight on cash, obviously you'll want to know which one of them is best to buy. Well, I haven't played all of them to give you a full examination on what is best, but since you asked, it's really just on what you value. You should compare the different planets that these expansions take place on, which one looks more fun to explore, have a look at the exclusive exotic gear that you might potentially get your hands on, and storylines. I think out of the 2 so far, Forsaken is more new player friendly, and I want to say it's more cinematic because there are a lot more cutscenes in between missions, which is really cool, by the way. That's not to say Beyond Light is bad, it's just both DLCs have a similar contrast where you'll get all the details you need to know by the end of the intro section. You meet some new and old characters, perform a few ordeals to bring the enemy to its knees, and then eventually finish it off with a boss fight.
I came here to do one thing. Hey, what the? Hey, that pokes, buddy.
There's a lot of cool characters to meet along the way, like Verix, who sounds a lot like Emperor Palpatine, but to mix it up, they've given him this like super unconditional habit of making this clicking noise like he's a part-time bird trainer or something.
That Aramis left behind.
Or the Exo Stranger, who finally has time to explain herself. And of course there is the multiplayer PvP section, or the Crucible, which I would strongly suggest collecting some cool loot before you enter that corner of the game, because that's what it really boils down to. Lots of experienced Guardians are present in this area, and it's especially setting the tone at the beginning of a game where you get to see your team readying themselves, and then there's little bitch boy you hiding in the back who's only like 1265. It's very demoralizing. However, Gambit, the PvE/PvP mode, is hands down my favourite out of the 2. 2 teams of 4 are in separate arenas killing bots that drop motes, which you must bank to score points. First team to reach 100 points will summon a boss, and whoever kills their boss first will win. And there's a few tricks to play throughout the game, like if you bank a certain amount of motes at once, you will send stronger NPCs into the opponent's arena to slow them down, and every time you reach 25 motes, one player from each team can invade the other arena, and the best time to do that is obviously when you're supercharged, because if a Guardian dies, they will lose all of the motes that they carry. It's a very well crafted mode. It's not the most original thing in the world, but I think I like it because it complements Destiny's formula and mechanics really well. Now, considering you can try this for free is a no-brainer, and it might be a little bit easier to lure you in, I tend to have a habit of getting into these looter shooters in the spring and summer months when there's very few games that are releasing. I understand completely why people look down on games like this, because they are seen as this evil new precedence where it's not about telling a good story and pushing technology forward, which we believed was, the intentions like not so long ago. It's about keeping you in this little bubble for as long as they possibly can and squeeze as much money out of you as they can. And what's telling is, for a genre that in my opinion is very oversaturated, the games that get the most acknowledgement are the bad ones. Destiny 1 and 2 when they first came out, Anthem, Outriders, Marvel's Avengers, games that just oozed corporate. And it makes me wonder, because of that, just how much interest is lost to these new ambitious upcoming games when they announce themselves as a looter shooter. But back to Destiny 2. It's a good game. It's not life-changing. There are some things that the community are not particularly happy with at the moment, like the recently announced transmog system, the underwhelming rewards that you get in the Season Pass and the Guardian games. I hope you hunters are really enjoying them trophies that you never earned. And this game is directed at a very specific type of player. I happen to be that guy. And that's all I can really give you. And I find myself now anticipating the Witch Queen expansion that is probably going to come out near the end of the year, I'm guessing so. So I'll give it to you, Bungie. Are we cool now? Not yet. No. But we will be, under one condition. You add this dance as an emote. I want to see a spree of Guardians in a circle trying to cause a frickin' earthquake. Come on, Bungie!